Hello, my name is Devin Olson, captain of fishing vessel High Hopes and deck hand for many fishing boats over the years. I'm going to show you a few knots that would be very important to a young fisherman getting aboard a lobstering boat or any vessel. So these are 6 knots that would be helpful to you. First knot I'm going to show you is called bowline. It's used frequently in almost every boat. Not every boat, but it's a common knot. Now how I usually do it is I usually have one side of the rope, usually the end, hang down in front of me, like that. And I take my right hand, and I grab to this rope, and I do kind of like a turnkey motion, and it flips. And your rope's going to look like that. Then I grab this knot, the end, that's hanging down in front of you, and I go up through the hole, and I come down around the rope that was heading that way, and I put it back down through the hole. So it's going to look like that before you pull it tight. Then I always grab the knot and pull it tight. And that's what a bowline would look like. Now this knot makes the rope fit, matches 50% of the rope strength, which is very interesting. And this rope will not come untied unless it's a brand new rope and it's been sitting around a while. But the way you untie it, you see this hump right here? You want to pull that backward and that come undone. If you don't do that, that rope will not come undone. There's many ways you can use this knot. You can use it in tying into something. So let's say I wanted this trap to be attached to something, like I would before. Turnkey. Like that. Well, I had that loop backwards. Then I do the same thing. Tie it tight. Oh, whoops, I messed up on it. Up through the hole, down and around, and back through the hole. Tie it tight. She ain't going nowhere. Like before, flip that, she comes undone. And the next knot I'm going to teach you is, I call it the buoy knot, because you have the bowline, which I'll retie, but this knot is what's used to attach the buoy to your main warp that leads to your trap. This knot was very difficult for me to learn, but I learned it at a young age, so hopefully this will help. Now, you want a bowline, what I just showed you, and what helps is if you have it on the ground, you're stepping on it and pulling it tight. Now, this is the buoy. You want this line. I usually do it to my left hand and go to the right. It's going to turn out into a T. You want to take your right hand and grip the bowline with a rope in it. Adjust how long you want this, because that will ultimately determine how long your knot will be. And you want to go underneath the bowline like this. Come down over it and back underneath this loop. Pull a little bit tighter so you got more to come back around. And put it underneath this loop again, like I did before. And you pull it tight. Make sure it's tight, because it can come undone. And that's what that will look like. And the 2 loops is optional. You can have one or the other. I do one time if I'm in a hurry. And what you usually do is you pull on this one right here, and I'll loosen that up, and then the knot will be able to come free, untying it. Simple as that. And the next knot I'm going to show you is similar to the bowline. It has that same structure, but this is tying on a pop buoy. This is a few fathoms down the rope, give or take of whatever you want to do. But say you go down this rope a certain fathom. Pretend this buoy is a toggle, and this is the toggle line, and this is the main warp. Now what I usually find easy and quick is I always take the main warp, the toggle line, and put it on the main warp, and I flip it just as a key. But just so you don't know that trick or haven't gotten used to it, it's still the same key motion, you just turn it. And then you just put the toggle line through it like you would in the bowline, back down and around, and back through the hole, and just pull it tight. And then you'll have your main line, and that's what it'll look like. Cool, huh? Same thing, you want to untie it, you just take that loop and bend it. Adjust the rope, and your knot will be able to slide right through there. The next knot that I'm going to show you is a hitch. This is helpful a lot. But it's very difficult too because you can mess up a lot. It's hard to get. But I'm going to use this pole, say I want to get a piece of rope tied onto it, but I don't. But I want more strength into it, so this is how you do it. I'd take the knot and I'd go out around, I'd pull it, and I'd get it to look like that. Make sure this is under. Then I'd take it again, go back around, then I see how I went underneath the rope, not over it. And that's what it'll look like. That's a hitch. But usually after safe measure, I take the rope and I come back down around, put it back down through the hole. And that's done a lot for beckets or traps, as you can see. But yeah, those are the knots that's really handy to know when you're out on a boat and you're just wanting to get started. I guess I can go over one more thing for you. I guess it'll be coiling, because coiling, it's not easy. It's kind of like an art, as a teacher told me. It can be difficult for people that don't know, that haven't had much experience with rope. But you want to hold one piece in your left hand if you're righty, and if you're lefty with your right hand. Either way you'd like it. Everyone's different. But you want to make sure you do loops. You want to let the rope bend. It helps that you don't have a firm grip on it and you let the rope bend freely. Because if you don't let the rope bend freely, eventually your rope will start to do figure eights. But you don't want that. You want them to do circular loops. So you keep doing that. Then you come to your end. And a lot of fishermen tie the rope differently. But I was taught to hitch. And this is what you want to do. You have your warp like that, holding through your thumb. Take the rope through the coil, and you grab it, you pull it tight so it's going to come out like that. Take your thumb and hold onto it, and do the same thing as you did before. Put the loop through there. You got that loop. You grab through it, and pull it tight. And you come out with something like that. But in the end, just put a simple loop through it like you're tying your shoe. Pull it tight. Your warp won't come undone. And that's what it'll look like. But that is not done by everyone. People do it differently. Not every fisherman's the same. But that's the way I do it, and that's the way I wanted to teach you. So those are the simple knots that it's nice to know when you're out lobstering. Don't have to know them. You could always be. But if you want to do in the lobstering profession, you'll get hired more with different boats by different captains if you know your knots, because that will become handy. Thank you for stopping down in the workshop. Have a good one. You want to take, this is how you combine two ropes without having to splice them, and it's relatively easy. It's just a simple knot. Now you have two ends of a piece of rope. Go like that. With one rope, you go around the other, and you make a simple knot. You probably all know how to do the simple knot. It's going to look like that. Pull that tight. And with the other end of the rope, this one, you go on the one that you just tied with, and you do the same thing. And this is what it's going to look like. Like that. Then you're going to want to pull it real tight. That's how you can combine rope without having to do a splice. It works relatively easy. A lot of old timers use it, and I turned into it the same way, so I use it too. It's a little bit harder to get undone, but once you do, you'll get her undone. So I'm going to sit there and untie this. The next one, I'm going to